Once upon a time, in a small village nestled at the foot of a majestic mountain range, there lived a wise old monk named Lando. He lived in an ancient temple, famous not only for his profound wisdom, but also for his sense of humor and the way he turned profound lessons into surprising stories that made everyone ponder. One day, the village was suddenly stirred by a heated argument between two close friends. A young man named Johnny and a girl named Alice argued loudly in the middle of the market, attracting the attention of the whole village. Johnny angrily declared, "Alice, you always take everything so seriously. I just want to enjoy this life more simply and happily." Alice, with a face that could not contain her emotions, replied, "Your kind of happiness is irresponsible. Do you think life is over just by laughing? I just want to help you understand that there are many things to face in life." The argument went on for so long that the whole village could hear it. Finally, someone suggested, "Why don't you two go see Mr. Lando? He'll definitely have a way to help you find the answer." Johnny and Alice reluctantly agreed, and together they walked up the hill to Mr. Lando's hut. When he heard the story, he just smiled gently and said to Johnny, "Johnny, if you really want to find simple joy, do as I say. Go to the market and buy the biggest, most delicious watermelon you can find. Then put it on your head, walk through this village, and come back here." Johnny's eyes widened. "Put a watermelon on your head? Are you sure this is some serious lesson?" Mr. Lando just shrugged and said, "Trust me, the lesson is in the journey, not the result." Alice stood next to him and laughed mockingly. "That's just like you, Johnny. You like to make a fool of yourself in front of others." Although a little embarrassed, Johnny agreed to prove something. He quickly went to the market and found a big, round, juicy watermelon. Carrying the watermelon on his head, Johnny started walking through the village. The whole village was in an uproar. Adults and children gathered around to look at Johnny. Some people whispered, and others laughed. A naughty boy ran after him, pointing and making faces. Johnny tried to stay calm, but the attention and laughter made him flustered. When he reached the end of the village, a group of older people sitting on wooden chairs in front of their houses teased him. "Young man, you look like you're auditioning to be a clown for the royal palace, right?" Despite the teasing, Johnny was determined not to let the watermelon fall. When he returned to Lando's hut, he breathed a sigh of relief, but was still upset. "Teacher, I finished my mission, but I feel so stupid and didn't learn anything." Lando laughed loudly, his eyes sparkling. "Johnny, do you think you haven't learned anything? Think back. While carrying the melon through the village, how did you feel when people laughed at you and pointed at you?" Johnny hesitated. "I felt embarrassed, frustrated, but then I realized if I just focused on keeping the melon from falling, I wouldn't pay attention to the words or laughter anymore." Lando nodded. "Exactly. Life is like carrying this melon. Others will laugh at you, point at you, and even criticize or mock you. But if you know how to focus on your journey, know how to smile, and accept those things as part of life, you will realize that the burden is not as big as you think." Alice stood beside her, at this moment also realizing her lesson. She admitted, "You're right. Maybe I've been so focused on controlling everything that I forgot that sometimes lightness and humor help us overcome challenges more easily." From then on, Johnny and Alice stopped arguing. They learned to balance responsibility and fun, seriousness, and humor. The story of the watermelon and Mr. Lando's lesson quickly spread throughout the village, becoming a source of inspiration for anyone who heard it. Remember, life is a journey full of unexpected challenges. Sometimes, the answer lies not in taking things too seriously, but in accepting and smiling in the face of difficulties. So when life makes you feel heavy, ask yourself, can I carry this watermelon and still smile? When Johnny carried the watermelon through the village, he not only carried a heavy challenge on his head, but also carried mocking eyes and mocking laughter. But it was his gentleness and determination that helped him complete the journey without falling. Life is like that. Sometimes, the burdens we carry are not the most difficult thing, but the way we endure the looks of others and keep our hearts strong in the storm. Then, if you know how to laugh in the face of adversity, you will realize that challenges are just a part of the game of life, and you can completely move forward with a calm heart and a smile on your lips. So, don't let difficulties defeat you. Turn them into funny stories that you are proud to tell. Number 1, face challenges with humor and patience. Did you know? An interesting statistic shows that 92% of successful actors like Keanu Reeves or Jim Carrey have shared that they achieved happiness not through fame or money, but by choosing to look at everything around them with a positive attitude. They do not wait for happiness to knock on their door after each award, but decide to live happily even during tiring filming days or when life is not as expected. And so can you. Happiness is not a reward you receive after achieving something great. It is a choice you can make right now. Imagine, if you wait until the perfect moment to be happy, you will probably be an audience in your own story for the rest of your life. I used to be a true expert in delaying joy. I always told myself, well, when I earn $100,000, I will be happy. But when I reached that milestone, I thought, I must have $1 million to be truly happy. And the cycle continued until I realized one thing. Happiness is not the destination, but how we choose to see the journey. Think about your worst day. Work is overwhelming. The car breaks down, and the rain is pouring down. At those times, you can choose to complain or laugh to yourself. This is a comedy episode of my life. How you choose to react determines your mood, and sometimes even affects tomorrow. Jim Carrey once said, I think people should be rich and famous so they can see that that's not the answer. What he meant was that happiness is not something you have to wait until you are qualified to experience. It's as simple as choosing which mood shirt to wear every morning, the pessimistic shirt or the gratitude shirt. So, what will you do today to choose happiness? It can start with enjoying your morning coffee, putting on your favorite song, or smiling at yourself in the mirror. These small actions are your way of signaling to the universe, you are ready to be happy. What about you? Have you ever had a moment when you decided to choose happiness over sadness? Or is there a method you always use to pull yourself out of a bad mood? Share it in the comments, because who knows, your story might inspire many others. When you learn to laugh at challenges, you will realize something interesting. True joy is not in conquering the peak, but in each step you courageously put down. Just like Johnny's journey carrying a watermelon, what makes it memorable is not the moment he reaches the destination, but the laughter, curious eyes, and constant efforts along the way. Life is the same. Sometimes we are too absorbed in the destination that we forget that the journey is where the most beautiful moments are created. So, instead of asking, When will I get there? Zrina, try asking, am I enjoying every step? Because in the end, it is the journey that you will carry in your heart forever. Number 2, the journey is more important than the destination. Do you know what the happiest people often share in common? They are not the richest, the most famous, or the most successful. What they understand is that the journey is what matters most in life. Now, imagine you're on a bus to your dream destination. Have you ever found yourself sitting there, counting down the minutes to your destination, forgetting that the view out the window is just as breathtaking? Our lives are like that bus ride. The destination, whether it's a great job, a dream home, or a major accomplishment, is sometimes just a fleeting moment. But the journey to get there is filled with memorable stories, valuable lessons, and heartwarming laughter. Let me tell you a story that I think will make you nod your head. Casey Neistat, one of the most popular YouTubers in the world, started his creative career in the most humble of circumstances. When Casey first started making short films, he lived in a room so small that he couldn't turn around without bumping into furniture. His equipment consisted of a borrowed old camcorder, and the only light came from a dim desk lamp. Not to mention the production team. Casey was the writer, director, actor, and pizza delivery guy who made his living. You might not believe that the first video Casey made was a tutorial on how to replace an iPod battery because Apple didn't offer a clear solution. Instead of ignoring the problem, Casey turned it into a funny, relatable story and conveyed a powerful message. The video, though simple, became one of the important stepping stones that brought him closer to the audience. But imagine, back then, the video had no fancy effects, nor was it staged grandly. Casey once admitted that when he watched it back, he saw dozens of flaws, from bad lighting and distorted voices to unbalanced camera angles. But what kept Casey going was his undying love for storytelling and his ability to enjoy the creative journey even when things weren't perfect. And then, step by step, Casey developed his style. Honest, creative, and daring to experiment. His later vlogs were not just life stories, but also inspirational works of art. From cycling around New York and traveling the world to sharing his life philosophies, he built a community of millions of people who loved him. But if you ask Casey what is most memorable, he certainly won't talk about the awards or the number of followers. It's the nights he spent editing videos until dawn, the pride he felt when posting a finished product, and the smile he had when he read the first comment from a stranger online. It's that journey, filled with hardships, challenges, and laughter, that makes Casey Neistat the man we admire today. So instead of focusing on when will I succeed, enjoy the journey you are on. Don't forget to laugh at the little things. Spend time with the people who are with you, and remind yourself that even failure is a story worth telling later. What about you? Is there a memory from your journey that makes you smile when you think about it? Or what helps you feel joy on the way to your goal? Finally, we want to take a moment to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts to all of you. Those who have chosen to listen to this story accompanied me in every thought, every emotion. It is your presence, whether it is just a view, a small comment, or a smile while watching the video, that has become a great motivation for us to continue telling more meaningful stories every day. Life is a journey, and fortunately, we do not have to go it alone, because you are always here, listening, sharing, and spreading good things. If today's story touches you, please let us know by leaving a like or a share to others. This is not only to support us, but also to spread this message to those who need it. Comment below with an inspirational quote that you love, or simply share something you have learned from your journey. Who knows? Your words might become a small but warm light in someone's life. Thank you for being an indispensable part of this story.